This is Vinyl Voices Radio, ESPN 97.5.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm John Denman.
Jesse Sandejas. All right, we're back. This is ESPN 97.5 Vinyl Voices Radio Show. I'm Jesse Sandejas. My co-host, John Denman, he's out this week, so we have Gladys Fuentes here helping us out, Houston Press.
Yeah.
And we have Amanda Pascali. We have the family, Addison and Federico. And we're going to listen to another song. Let's jump right into the song, and then we'll give ourselves plenty of time to listen to talk about it afterwards. So this one is a Amanda original called Temporary Home.
No conversation, where do you belong? No name, no passport, no, nobody waits for you to know more. Nobody waits in this underground airport, where do you belong? I said ain't gonna let nobody turn you around, no, turn you around, no, turn you around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn you around, or where do you belong? I said ain't gonna let nobody
temporary home. On this show we ask the artists to select the songs that we're going to talk about rather than us kind of cherry picking. So why this song?
Well, I think that in a lot of ways, we're in Houston right now, and I think in a lot of ways this is the most Houston song I've ever done. Even as a whole project, we have a music video for this song that we filmed right here in Houston with a Mexican-American film director, Joel Valdes, with actors from a myriad of different cultural backgrounds. It's the story of my dad when he came to the U.S. and, as I was mentioning, he had no money, no connections, and he thought of America as kind of like being his temporary home, as this place that's kind of just a transition space. And then once he makes enough money and finds his freedom, he would return to his home country and be known as the guy that made it in America.
Right.
But that didn't happen for him. I mean, he made it, but he decided to stay here.
Yeah.
And he fell in love with my mom, and then I was born. And a lot of people don't know this, and I stay saying this everywhere I go around the world. Houston has the largest population of immigrants out of any city in the United States. So in this country of immigrants, we are the hotspot. We are the hotspot for foods from different cultures, music from different cultures, different stories and experiences, but those aren't usually the stories that are put in the center stage. And this song is kind of like trying to push that movement to highlight those stories. And so we had actors of different backgrounds playing these characters in my life, like my father, that were not, of the same ethnic background as him. And somehow, in my mind, it works because the story is universal.
Right.
Honestly, listening to it, I was like, this is very Houston.
Thanks.
Because we are so diverse.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what we were going for.
Yeah.
And we've got like Latin percussion on it.
Yeah.
We've got this kind of like jazz, Afro-Cuban piano part to it. There's Addison adding like the kind of classical influence in there as well. I mean, there's a lot. And we've got trumpets too, and the guy playing trumpets used to play in a mariachi group.
Yes.
So there's a lot there.
Yeah.
And mariachis.
I know. I heard it. Yeah. It's funny because we sometimes on this show we have talked also about having that kind of not really an inferiority complex, but certainly we have our sibling over to the west that sometimes gets all the shine, but the beauty of a show like this is just getting to expose anyone who comes across it to what's happening here. Mm-hmm. And that what you just said, Amanda, about that particular song, it summarizes the whole scene here. It's like, there's certain genres that probably people associate with Houston. Hip hop is big, that kind of thing. But really, it's about even in those songs, you can hear little bits and pieces of all the cultures that live here. And so I really appreciate that you did pick this song because that's what this show is about. That's what this music is about. To get to share it. I feel very privileged to have you here talking about it.
Thanks, Jesse. It's our pleasure to be here. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. What you got? Something else?
Thanks. Too. Thank you.
How many times have you written about Amanda now? And going back, who goes back furthest? Did I write about her first or did you?
I don't know. But I know that the next song, when I heard it, I thought, oh, she's all grown up. So I don't know.
Because I want to say it was you. Yeah. Like, I want to say it was you, but then I remember long phone calls with Gladys.
Yeah,
just like talking about stuff and relating over just awkward experiences that we shared. Yeah.
I think I saw you before I wrote about you, right? I saw you. I had my daughter.
You saw
And I was
us
like,
when we played at
wow,
Cactus Records store.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to mention too. Is that the first time I saw you was at John Denman's old pub, the Drink of Ages pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on a show that had like some punk rock bands on it too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this music, a lot of the songs that you either have written or have translated, have that kind of like I don't know if you'd call it punk, but it's like the songs of resistance, the songs of rising up, and so you fit in with the punk group too. You could play Anderson Fair, but you could play, the punk rock pub. So
And I have.
Amanda used to be in a punk band.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
I remember talking about that with the Mihaela crescendo part.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with like
Yeah.
rock music.
And even like the Grasshoppers, it made me think about like the cowpunk train hopping
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
that I grew up knowing. They're just, that's what they do. They just love folk, they love punk, and they just would go around and do
Yeah.
things. And it,
What about you two? Musically, what's kind of the background for y'all?
Well, I come from a different background. So I grew up in
Not
Buenos
punk.
Aires. Not punk, not punk, but not too far sometimes. I grew up with tango and with Latin American folk music mostly, and with a lot of jazz. Those were my three big things. And then life took me to the classical music world, and opera in particular has been my thing for the past 10 years or so of my life. And
Wow.
and and now Amanda's music,
Yeah.
its own genre, I guess. Yeah.
And you, Addison?
And yeah, classical music in the orchestra for me.
Yeah.
I grew up playing viola and then somehow got a violin so that I could play Irish music at the pub
Okay.
before I could even drink, just, because it's fun. And then
Yeah.
playing music, not drinking, which is also fun though.
yeah.
Bad Astronaut.
Bad Astronaut. Shout out to
Um,
Bad Astronaut.
And then touring with various bands, and I was in one group and the bass player quit, and I was like, well, I have a cello and I can play that like a bass, I think. And so I tried to learn all of them, and it comes in handy now when we're trying to record a string quartet, but we have to just layer the parts on top of each other, and it's just me playing over myself.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a lot
kind
of
of
fun.
full circle. I think in that first segment we were talking about how music is a language of its own, and then we kind of went on to literal languages, and now just circling all back to the cultures that live here, but also all the, your respective different backgrounds in music that kind of just come together to create this thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see. So, what's next? What do you guys have for 2024?
So we're working on this big project to record the translations that I worked on in Palermo. Last year, I think one of the craziest things that happened to me, and I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, is I set up a camera and I filmed myself singing these translations, just short snippets, and I ended up going viral on social media. So I started the year with a small but mighty following that was pretty exclusive to Houston. And then I ended the year with this kind of global following of over 70,000 people around the world that connected with, the words that I chose in making these translations of songs that had never, ever been translated into any language ever before. And so now there's this, this big pressure to record these songs and release them out into the world, which is a legal battle.
Yeah.
It's a musical, journey. It's a big project, and we're all involved in it pretty deeply. And so we expect to have several singles out this year and release the project in definitely like some capacity.
Nice.
Yeah, because these are some very old songs.
Some of them are very old songs. Some are just kind of old songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that gives us a lot to look forward to, especially the two of us that have kind of followed your story, but hopefully everybody that's catching on maybe by watching this, listening to the show. So where can those folks go to become part of the social media following.
The family.
Part of the family, right? Part of the
Become
family.
part. Well, the great thing about having a name like Amanda Pascali is that I'm very easy to find.
Right.
Not like Addison. If you look up Addison Freeman, you get like 50,000 results. But if you just look, honestly, if you look me up, you can find me. I have a website, amandapascali.com. I'm on the social media websites as Amandina Pascali, which is basically like a little Amanda Pascali. But honestly, if you search my name, you'll be able to find me anywhere. Spotify.
Or if you search Rosa Balistreri, you'll find Amanda Pascali too.
That's true.
You'll
Yeah.
pop up right there with
And what an honor and a privilege and a big responsibility as well.
I found her through you.
And you know, a lot
That's
of
the
people
goal.
tell me tell me that, and I'm really I'm aware of what a responsibility that is, especially for Sicilian people that didn't know her before.
Yeah.
Younger Sicilian people who weren't aware of her and her legacy. It's a big responsibility, and I don't necessarily think I'm the best person to take it on, but until I started it, no one else had.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Right. Well,
it's now or never.
that's right. That's right. Well, kudos to you for doing that. Congrats with all the success. Really happy to have you all here. Thank you again, Gladys.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to sign off from ESPN 97.5 Vinyl Voices radio show. Thanks to Frank's Pizza for hooking us up with the pizza. Bad Astronaut for the badass beers. Adley Law Firm. DJ Muskrat. Jason Esparza. Gladys again. John out there. Thanks,
Jason.
everyone. And we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Vinyl Voices, brought to you by Adley Law Firm, Houston's personal injury attorneys for 30 years.
No nation, no conversation. Where do you belong?